All right, you're all set.
Okay, great. Okay, today is Wednesday, July 23rd. This is the meeting of the Bridgewater Community Preservation Committee. Call to order. We're a couple minutes before the posted start of the meeting, but I'll just first read a disclosure that pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2020, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency and the June 30th, 2027 extension granted by Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. This meeting for the town of Bridgewater will be fully remote and accessible to the public through remote participation to the greatest extent possible. No in-person attendance is permitted. Citizens wish to tune into the meeting may do so via Zoom. Okay, it's 6:30, so I'll call the meeting to order. Item B on the agenda, chair's comments. Just have a few quick things that Carlton and I continued the officers meeting, CPC officers meeting that we've had with the past two town managers. We met today with the new town manager, Justin Casanova Davis, for a quick meeting. We didn't have a lot of time with him, but he wants to meet with us again soon. The state is starting to accept the CPC, CP 1, 2, and 3, which are the reports that are due to the state for CPC business for the prior fiscal year. Laurie Garini, the finance director, always takes care of that for us in a timely manner. If you haven't read the coalition newsletter, I know I sound like a broken record asking people to view that, but they have on the website the coalition year in review, which is interesting. I encourage people to take a look at that. The last thing is we found out in meeting with Justin, the town manager, that eligibility forms no longer need to be signed by the town manager. Before we had them sent to, for town departments, we had them sent to the town manager for signature. He only wants to see them once the full application is received. And I think that's it for my comments. Okay, public comment. Do we have any public that wishes to speak? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to the approval of meeting minutes for May 28th that Josh sent out. I know they were not kind of long, they were long. So hopefully people had a chance to read them. Okay, any questions, comments on the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
Thanks, Harry. Second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Maureen. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call. Gina, yes. Carlton?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Me.
That's it.
Nope, me.
Okay, I'm sorry, Maureen. Are you a yes?
I'm a yes.
Okay, good. I'm looking down the list on Zoom, and it mixes guests in. with the meeting, with our committee, plus it keeps moving the order. Okay. So it's good. Review of financial reports. The report you have, even though we've closed out the fiscal year, there's a couple of things on the townhouse roof and the Broad Street property that we voted to close them. I've sent it off to the finance department, and those will reflect back in the July report, the first report for fiscal 26. Other than that, we're just still ahead of income. I'm looking to see, did people get the finance report in there? I'm scrolling through the agenda package and it looks like it wasn't, but not much has changed. Basically, from May, we just made one payment, and that was for the Edson book, $5,500. Everything else is just about the same, except for minor changes in income.
Yeah, I would just add that the actual income from the 2% surcharge is, at this one, it says $982,483. That's about $100,000, $110,000 above what we estimated.
Okay,
that's
thank you,
good.
Carlton. What was that amount again?
The amount that's listed here is $982,483 and change. And it's $107,483 more than we anticipated as our surcharge. And the state, you've known all along that the state was about $70,000 more than we anticipated. And then we have a very large income from interest on investments of $161,500. So we've got a healthy amount of income for FY25.
Great, thank you. And I'll, either one of us will send that out to the committee, the latest. For some reason, it got left out of the package. Unless it was in the first package, we had to do a revised one. Okay, next is Bill on, because I know Bill wanted to be part of this next discussion for old business application received.
Nobody's in the waiting room.
Okay, I know Bill was, I lost him, here it is. He had wanted to be in on this discussion. So Kathy, do you mind if we just jump over you for a second for the first parish windows?
Sure, that's okay.
Okay, I just know that Bill from the historic,
Yeah,
he wanted to be on for the conversation. He was going to be a little late. Okay, so we're going to jump to B, eligibility form received. First one, multifunctional fields at the middle school. We're still waiting for the application. Carlton, do you have anything to add for that?
Yeah, we reached out to, this is a multifunctional. We reached out to the coalition to just get some clarification of CPA funds being used on town property that's leased to a school department. And we got some feedback, extensive feedback on it. And one of the recommendations is that the CPC committee require an agreement, a formal agreement between the town, the CPC, and the school committee that in the future, let's say 15 years down the road, should this go through, and it's the things built out, the recreation's built out, should that go through, then in 15 years, the school department says, oh, we need to build an additional building and we need that part of the land for that. At that point, the town would probably build it, but the problem is that the CPC has invested taxpayer money for a recreation facility. And so the question becomes, is that true to the CPA requirements of a beneficial use in the town? And the recommendation was that that agreement would specifically have statements to the effect, and this is just planning right now, a statement to the effect that the agreement says that should in fact the school committee town decide to reuse that land for a different purpose than for education, but a different purpose than the CPA money paid for, there would be a repayment of CPA funds to the town by the district. That's just not, it's not hypothetical, but that's the recommendation and going forward. And since we don't have an application, we have said it's eligible. We don't have an application. We need to work with the Parks and Rec Commission, who's the proponent for the recreational facility in the town's recreation department, and the town manager to make sure that happens. So that's in a nutshell where we're at with that particular potential application. If you
Okay,
have questions,
Gina,
I'm
just
happy
quick.
to-
Pat, shoot.
I spoke to Carlton and I ended up talking to Mark and to Frank. And I think the delay in the application, and I think they'll probably have something submitted at the next meeting. I think they're just trying to get some signatures. One of the issues when I spoke to them, one of the issues was that they estimated the whole project at 500,000, right? The only hard quote they got, or the only quote that they could get was for the engineering to develop the specs and whatnot for that site. What they found was trying to go out and get prices for a project that isn't designed yet or had specs was almost impossible because everybody had different ideas or different quantities or whatever. So I think what you're going to see, and I think they're just trying to get the town manager's signature on it and whatnot. And I don't know if it's come before you guys yet at recreation, but I know, I think what they're going to do is they're going to submit an application for the next meeting. And I think it's going to be broken out into two parts. The first phase would be phase one, which is 25,000 for engineering. And then phase two would be the 475 for construction, but a detailed construction budget couldn't be asked for or funded until they had the documents to be able to quote that. You know what I mean? It's a very difficult project to quote unless you have a scope, and they need so.
Yeah, as with most projects. Thank you. That's what I was going to suggest is
Yeah, so it's gonna be so instead of asking for all of it at once, I think they're gonna ask for 25 up front. They'll put the whole application in, but they'll say, we only want you to vote on 25 now. Once we get the specs done and we can put a budget together, then we'll ask for the rest of it.
okay, sounds good.
And Pat, just to say, we've done that in the past with the memorial building. There was a need for additional funds that the CPC had approved, but they needed additional funds to do the back stairway. And so we got an amendment to that application that increased the
And they're not saying they need additional money. They're just saying they don't know how, they want to do fields, grass, irrigation, lighting, and it's just how to put that money into different buckets is very difficult if you don't have, a specification to give somebody to say, hey, can you price this for me? You know what I mean? They show up at a parking lot and say, hey, what do you think?
Yeah, I understand that, but say the price comes in higher than the 475 or less, you can then send in an amendment requesting that or firming that up, and it'll go through the town council process.
I think
That's
I think the hope is to meet the budget or less. So, but I think I'll make sure I'll nudge. Maybe you can nudge Mark, Thomas, Gina, and I know I know Frank. Frank's working on that with him.
Good
as well.
What is Frank's last name, Pat?
Why can't I remember?
I can't either. Okay. The other thing for that,
Judd,
that-
Judd, Judd.
what is it?
Right, and the town managers today, his expectation, and this is a issue that needs to be worked out down the road, but the expectation it would come from the town department head, not necessarily the Parks and Rec Commission. The words he used is an advisory letter. So that detail needs to be worked out, but the expectation it would come from the department.
Right, right. And it was also recommended to us to have, and I agree, to have a legal opinion by the town attorney. And we've been told that the town's okay with it. We've been told that the school department's okay with
Yeah,
it.
they actually, in the packet that I saw, there was already a letter of support from the school district, so.
Right, but how about a legal view from,
Well, we can make
Okay.
that as part of the app. Let's wait till the application comes in and then we can finalize what's needed. But I think the first thing they're gonna need is the I'm a two.
I
Yep,
think
that-
too, before we can, even when we get the application, before we can act on it, we should have that letter of letter of memorandum between the school and the town. I know you just said that there's a letter there from the school department that it's okay with them. I'd like to see a legal, and we have another month before the next meeting.
All right,
But just-
I can reach out to him on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
we
something in
need-
writing from
We
the
we
town
need to work with
attorney.
the town, excuse me, we need to work with the town attorney directly and get his opinion too. So we've got a month,
Right, right.
or 3
Right.
weeks.
All right.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Pat. And I will make sure that Mark keep on back for Parks and Rec. And his accountant said between the commission can write a letter of support, but it would be the Parks and Recreation Department, excuse me, that would actually do the application. But I'll work with Mark on that. And Jim Small. Okay. It looks
I
like,
s- I s- I still haven't seen Bill Smith sign in, so I'm a little bit worried, but
okay, he said he should be on by 7. So,
I'll watch the clock.
yeah, okay. Storage building at Legion Field. We had originally sent back their, my phone never rings. 1 second. Sorry about that. We had sent it back because they originally wanted just a new storage building. We had sent it back asking for a comparison between restoring the old one and building a new one. But I learned at the last Parks and Rec meeting that the old one was just in such dire shape that they had to tear it down, or they have to tear it down. So they're working on getting us the information for the eligibility form for a new building. So we'll go from there on that one. Next, Cedar Street Community Center. We
I
returned.
can give you.
Yep, go ahead.
I spoke with the proponent, and they are still working on, just like the other folks, they're working on detailed plans and specifications so they can get a proper cost together to come before us. It's the community center building. It's not the actual church. But I've also spoken with, and we've seen some letters of support. So I think that was in the eligibility form. So that we anticipate that one possibly next meeting, and I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. Good. Does anybody have anything to add for these last few things. Okay. I'll wait a few more minutes for Bill. Actually, you know, let's start the discussion on that because the other things might take a little longer. You saw the application from the First Parish Church. There's in your packet. Can I just ask, because I think these two people might be from the church, Debbie and Diane, are you both from the church?
Of them are from the church. They worked up with me on the
Okay.
proposal.
Okay, good. Just to make sure. Thank you. I sent out today, either late morning or this afternoon, the information from the Historic District Commission. We had, at our last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, asked the church to reach out to the Historic District Commission. They did. The HDC sent along today. They met, I believe, last night. They sent their approval to the project with a lot of other information, which I sent out to all of you today. And plus, right before we started, I had a letter of support that I received from the Historic District Commission, Historical Commission, that I can read to you if I can find it quick enough. Okay, it was a letter of support from David Moore sent it along from the Historical Commission. And it's going to take forever to download. Oh, here we go. Okay, the Unitarian Church located at 50 School Street is located on the site of the original South Parish Meeting House in Colonial Bridgewater. The building played a very significant role in the settlement of the town and the organization of early town government. The Bridgewater Historical Commission supports the funding of repairs to the original windows as opposed to wholesale replacement of the sash. The building has been preserved in a historical manner in keeping with the importance, and we feel the funding of this project will continue in the preservation for the enjoyment of the public. Sincerely, David R. Moore, Chair, Bridgewater Historic Commission. And Kathy, we can add that plus all the information that Bill sent along. We can add that to your application package.
Thank you.
Any questions, discussion on this project, the application? And the application was for, let me just double check to make sure I have the right amount. The application was for $38,000. And just as a reminder, the total project cost is $79,900, but they have other funding. Someone requested a sum of money to repair the windows. So that comes off the total project amount. So it brings it down, plus they had other funds. So it brings it down to $38,000 that they're requesting from community preservation. And they also, okay, it's 2 letters, and I think we have, okay. You also have a letter of support from State Representative Dennis Gallagher in support of the windows. And he mentions the private donation. The First Parish Church has a long history in Bridgewater going back to 1716 when it was incorporated. The current church was built in 1845 on the exact site of the initial parish. First Parish plays a role in our community. They offer Saturday coffee house, First Parish players, Christmas Eve services, fairs, concerts, as well as one book, one community programs. They promote social justice and initiatives, including LGBTQ rights, climate actions, and economic quality. He recommends it. There's also a letter from Lorraine Carosa. Boy, you guys, did you work on these?
People to write
Maria.
letters.
Yep, you guys did your work. Evie DeLutis. So there's a lot of letters of support here. That, as I said, we'll just add the two newest ones to the packet. Any discussion on?
Gina, I need to go over a couple of things that are really critical in this kind of application.
Okay,
As we all remember, hopefully, and it's in our policies and procedures document as attachment 1, that's the SJC 3-part test. Essentially, we need to go through a process of looking at 3 questions that we need to address. And those are, 1, whether there's a risk of liberty of consciousness that would be infringed if we funded this project. It's based on the risk is meant to be avoided by the anti-aid amendment grants. And these go for any nonprofit, whether they're a church or another organizations, it's a nonprofit. So this first step we need to do is, and this also is the letter that the town attorney sent back in the last time we dealt with the church application. Risk of liberty of conscience would be infringed. Yes?
Calton, we went over this maybe 2 meetings
No,
ago.
I think, Gina, I think
we're welcome
I
to
think-
hear it again.
we've gone over it. I'm just trying to for the record, I'm trying to reiterate.
Right.
Thank you. Second thing
that's
is,
what I said. You're welcome to go on.
thank you. The risk that public funding would result in, there's a risk, if there's a risk of public funding that would result in entanglement with religion, or the other thing is risk that the public's support for religious institution would be threatened, would threaten civic harmony. And basically what town attorney wrote back, nothing prohibits a religious institution from applying for CPC funds. However, the applicant should very carefully scrutinize through the lens of the court's decision. The CPC should determine if the requesting entity or structure is of substantial historic significance. And 3, the funds are being requested to offset costs which would otherwise be incurred by the church, and it's highly likely that in that case, it's a highly impermissible grant. Any request for funds to repair, renovate, restore any part of a church itself that carries religious significance, stained glass, etc., is not permissible. So based on that input, I took a hard look at this, and I personally, and everybody else has to vote, take this into consideration. I personally do not think that we're at the risk of the liberty of consciousness. Why do I think that? This church has received at least 2 CPA grants in the past. And most importantly, the CPA, the Historic District Commission, actually has a deed restriction on that. So I think that all takes care of that question. The second one is the public funding would result in entanglement. I do not believe, based on the application, that this would constitute getting entangled with religious organizations. They have many social outreaches. This is not a church steeple. This is not windows that have religious significance. And therefore, I don't think, based on history and the fact that we funded several restorations of the church, It does not threaten civic harmony. That's my opinion, and I hope that's everybody's opinion, but I also want to make sure that we address this here, because if we vote to recommend this to the town council, I'm quite sure there will be questions from other people. So I just want it on the record that we considered this very thoroughly.
Thank you. People's thoughts, I know we discussed this at length a couple of meetings ago, but as Carlton said, it's good to have it repeated. Any questions or comments on the three-part test? Anybody? Everybody?
I would ask the proponents whether or not anything I made statements to would not be what they consider. In other words, am I accurately representing your organization and the church?
Yes, I think so. I mean, there's no religious imagery on the windows. It's all of the things you said about community involvement and community use of the building for various things are accurate. And I think that what you said was correct.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Debbie or Diane, who helped put together the application, do you have any comments on that?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I would just like to say we would greatly appreciate any help that we might be able to have in funding the repair of the windows to keep them historically accurate. That would be important to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, I still don't see. We got Bill. Are you on here?
Yes, William's phone.
Okay. Bill, I'm not sure how much you heard of the discussion, but do you have?
He's still connected to the audio, Gina. I just let him in.
Oh,
Thank-
okay. Bill,
He's muted.
It's gonna be us now.
Bill,
Oh, they're coming here.
okay, we started the discussion.
Hello, Gina.
Hey, Bill,
Oh,
we started the discussion
yeah.
before you got on.
Okay.
Our school should
We
be
just
finishing next
talked
year.
about all the letters of support that they have.
That is for 2026, the school is supposed to be.
My letter.
Right, and we
And,
got one
they
late
can
this
start doing
afternoon
the
from
process.
the Historical Commission.
Junior year.
Good. It's a very worthwhile project, I think, the preservation of those windows.
Mm-hmm, good. And
Uh,
Carlton,
school development.
okay, we're getting,
yes and no.
okay, we're
They
getting
cut.
feedback from
How
some.
you doing? Fine.
There's something going on because I can't see anybody that's not muted. Josh,
Okay.
I-
Bill, he's getting a lot of background noise.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
it
you very
was-
much.
It was Bill's. Bill, just to repeat, Carlton just went over the three-part test. And I think we all agreed, but I'm just going to ask for comments from the CPC members. We had talked about this prior when we had their eligibility form. But I just want to make sure that everybody agrees that it meets the three-part test and is eligible for CPA funding. CPC members, any comments for that about the three-part test? Carlton went over thoughts of his, and I agree with them. Just want to make sure the rest of the committee is set with it.
I think it sounds pretty good. It sounds like it hits the parts and where it's no religion involved, really, just preserving the windows that are just plain glass windows. I think it would be okay.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any other comments, CPC members? David?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great project. It's a very important building in Bridgewater history. Not only has it been used as a church, it was used as the public meeting house for many years. And not that particular building, but that site. So it's a very important piece historically.
Okay, and how do you feel about the three-part test? Do you feel
Excellent. I don't see any violations.
great? We just want to make sure we don't like violations. We've never had one and we don't want one. So that's good. Any more discussion on the application? David, Bill, I thank you for the letters that you both sent off today from your respective committees and commissions.
Hearing no more, I move that the CPC recommend funding $38,000 for the restoration of the First Church windows using the historic reserve account of the CPC.
Which is, do you have the number handy?
I don't have the number, but we can fill that in.
Okay, and I
But
don't
we
have,
need a second.
I don't have the budget form right in front of me. Okay, the historic reserve account. And just to note that that account has more than sufficient funds.
We need a second. We need a second to continue.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And the account number for the CPA reserve, historic reserve, is 324200. There's $562,000 in that reserve.
562.
Sorry, Carlton, what was
Into-
the
Account number? Historic reserve 324200. The balance of that fund is $562,795.52.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Josh, roll call?
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Definitely yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Bill. Bill, you're on mute right now. Okay. There we go.
Enthusiastic, yes.
Thank you, Bill. David,
Yes.
thank you. The motion was approved.
Great, thank you. I will get the letter off to. Okay, Bill, can you just,
I muted him. Oh,
Okay,
yeah, Bill,
good.
we're just gonna mute you because we're getting a lot of background noise, but we'll just remind you during the votes.
right, okay. I will get the letter off to this week, off to the town manager, so it gets included on our town council agenda. Josh, do you know offhand when the next council meeting is?
I don't off the top of my head.
The,
And
the
Debbie
next
just
meeting
left.
is October 4th. There will be a special meeting on October 5th or 6th.
October?
Yeah, there's no meeting in
Excuse me,
September.
August.
August.
Oh,
August 12th.
you panicked me for a second. It's like, what
No, I
is
panicked my own brain. It's a long day.
Okay, so it's August 5th, you said?
No, August 12th is the next regular meeting, unless
Okay,
they change it. And then there's another one scheduled, a special meeting scheduled for either the 5th or 6th. I've heard that. I don't know if it's official yet.
okay, great. Well, they'll have it in plenty of time.
And,
For the
quite
meeting.
frankly, and Josh can work with the town manager. I don't know if they want to put that on that special town meeting because that essentially is dealing with the supplemental budget for the school committee.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we'll get it off and it will be up to the town manager when he wants to put it on. And Josh, can you just follow up on that for us too?
Sure.
Okay, good. Thank you. And again, I want to thank Kathy and Diane and Debbie for all the work they put into this application. And
Thank you for your support. I think I mentioned to Bill last night that we are scheduled with the contractor tentatively for their work to begin on August 5th, but that's fine because we're going to do the first phase. We have the funding to do the first phase from our own funds. So it will get started, and then we'll know on the 12th, or I would assume by the 12th, whether they've approved your recommendation, and that's this works for us. So we really appreciate the support.
Just a quick note, when we recommend to the town council and it goes on, they will refer to the financial committee and the budget and finance committee of the town council. That referral takes about 2 weeks to process, so likely you won't hear of a final until September.
It's fine, because the first phase is going to take a month. And, you know, I would think that by the time we're ready to go, it would be close to the time we'd hear, just allowing for, you know, delays. It's supposed to take 4 weeks. We don't know definitely if it's going to begin on the 5th. That could be the following week. So I think the timing works for us as well. So
Thank you.
again, we appreciate the support. We'd really like to get this entire project done this year instead of having to wait a year till the weather cooperates again. And, you know, we need to get it done before the weather turns cold, and this would work. So we really appreciate it.
great, thank you so much. And if you have any questions or anything, be sure to reach out.
I will.
Thank you all.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you all so much for your support.
Yep, thank you.
Yes,
And
thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
great, okay, thank you. Moving on to project updates, projects in process. I keep flipping my page. I forgot to print it double-sided. Hanson's Farm, it's not much has changed since the last report last month. The conservation restriction is in place. Carlton is still working to get the measurements so the wood can be purchased to build the bridges over the wetlands. And the sign should be in, the sign for the trailhead and the big sign out onto Pleasant Street. They're working on it. They're looking to install it by the first weekend in August. And that's the tentative time. We'll know more as the time gets closer. Wildlands Trust is preparing a press release for the property. And one of the things that they're asking is, and we have to come up with people, they like to get quotes from or comments from people, townspeople. I see Janet's on here. They'd like to get comments from members of the Hanson family for it. We're looking to have some type of a celebration for the property. Probably not till the fall, just knowing how busy the farming season is, especially in the summer. So that will be worked out with the Hanson family on what's a good time, but we're looking more September or October. But we'll keep everybody posted for that.
And to Janet, I will come out and talk with the guys this week about the dates and what's going to happen there. And I'm also in touch. Josh is very busy with the town manager and his efforts and all the things he has to do as BCC coordinator. So I will be connecting directly with the sign contractor to make sure the dates are okay with everybody. Thank you.
Well, I'm just curious, I haven't talked to David, where's the intention of where the sign is going to be placed? You guys are going to be talking with Bob and David about that, right?
Correct.
Where
And I've spoken with both of them, and I think that the major sign which recognizes each sign recognized the funding organizations, but the major conservation sign, you know where the cattle barn is, and the open door, if you're looking at into that building and the open door is on your right, there's a little green area that hopefully doesn't have a lot of boulders and that kind of thing underneath that. And I've got preliminary discussions. I've had preliminary discussions. That's where we'll put that big sign. The other trail sign that will actually have a diagram of the trail in it, that kind of thing. That's likely to be probably down. There's two trails. There's a right-hand trail, goes down on the right-hand side of the barn, etc. There's one on the left side, and I think probably we'll work out where the trail sign goes and probably be down towards that proposed small parking lot. But we'll work that all out with the guys.
Yep, and just hope the public still realize it is a working farm and they have to stick to the trails.
We
Right, one
actually
of the
have,
things,
the trail sign actually has the rules of the road on it.
Yeah.
And the farmers, you guys reserve the right to close the trails if there's active farming going on, or you're putting pesticides down, or if you use that or whatever. So there's a bunch of trail rules of the road, rules of the trail that are on the trail sign.
Carlton, I
And I-
have the sign mock-up pulled up already. Do you want me to share with the screen? Would that be-
Yeah, I mean, you could do that.
okay, great. And I believe too, Janet, is something that, like a hanging thing, excuse me, that the Hansons, if as Carlton said, pesticides or whatever, they're out there with equipment that might block the trails, that they can hang up a thing that said trails closed.
Right, in this right-hand image that folks are seeing, we're putting a set of hooks in there so that you guys can hang a sign and say trails closed,
Yeah,
just an added protection.
I thought I saw something like that. That's good. You know, I just, it's great to be able to do that, but at the same time, I'm protective of David and Bob. So just want to make
Understood.
sure that people
Understood.
realize that it's not a free for all. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.
Thanks,
If
Josh.
you-
Shouldn't there be a rule on there about you have to buy an ice cream if you're going there?
I think that's,
Or
I think that's an
you have to
unspoken
buy a
given.
vegetable. How about let's don't forget the farm stand. That was the first one. You
Yeah,
have to
okay.
buy a vegetable.
Mhm.
Better
Yep.
for us that way.
Yep, I think I've more than bought my share of ice creams, and veggies too, especially the ice creams. We should probably think of too, putting a chain across the trailhead. So
That's up to the farmers. That's up to the farmers.
right. No, I'm suggesting that whoever talks to Janet, if you mention it to David, Carlton can mention it when he talks about the sign too.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else on Hanson's? Okay, moving on, Styles and Hart improvements. Nothing's changed. We talked at length today with the town manager about it, the issues, that the bid was closed, the contract was closed, unbeknownst to us, whoever was leading the project. And he's going to look into that. We're anxious to get it completed. An issue that's come up that the road leading in from the bigger parking lot on Broad Street is the drainage from the rain is making big ruts in there. So that has to go back to the construction company that was doing the improvements. I personally don't think the town should pay to repair that, because to me, and again, I'm not a contractor, but I don't think there should be big ruts like that so soon after being put in. But that's about where that stands. Anybody have anything to add, Carlton? Anybody else?
I'll just add that I think, I'm not sure if I mentioned it during our meeting today, but I think we need to get a working group together to actually deal with the several issues in there. There's the access from along the river, handicapped accessibility. There's the parking lot, the southern parking lot. There's an access issue to that new parking lot. There's an issue about handicapped accessibility all the way down to the gated area. And David has also indicated there are 2 kiosks in the park that need to have signs designed for the historic information that we want to have in there. And Gina's talking about, a lot of parks like this have signage for different plants and different species. So I think, and the funding available is according to the June finance report, is about $700,000 left in that CPAC account. And I do not believe that includes the reimbursement from this park grant that the town won.
Right.
So I think we have sufficient funds to get all this done. We just have to sit and talk about what is going to happen. And that needs to be led by the Parks Department, Parks and Rec Commission, and getting a working group together. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you. I've talked to Parks and Rec about the signs to come up, and how David has suggested historic signs when the property especially was the fairgrounds, and also it's a brick company, 2 brick companies. Talked about that. Plus, as Carlton said, I walk a lot of trails in the area, and I see signs identifying plants, identifying, different water sections, things like that. And so Parks and Rec has come to the conclusion that they don't know anything about signs and what should go on it. And they'd like John Hart, who's the chief park steward, to be involved in that. David, would love to see stuff that you have as well. And possibly Harry or somebody else on conservation that would know about different plants there, different. Harry, can you suggest either yourself or someone from conservation or someone that would be able to identify different plants, like unusual plants?
I'll see if anybody on conservation wants to do it.
Okay, great. Thank you. I know there's
Another possibility would be the tree committee. There is an arborist on board that comes in on an hourly basis. He just did a review of the Central Square trees and said that there's a couple that need to come down because they're pretty tough shape. But I think the tree committee has some experts that could come in, or the arborist could come in and talk about certainly the large foliage that's out there. So that's it. And I'm going to suggest that possibly we get a little working group together for these signage, led by David and Harry, that is some kind of an ad hoc committee. We don't have to decide tonight, but I think we should do that to move this forward. We need to work with the town manager to make that happen.
Right. I think John Hart definitely should be included.
Agreed.
Oh,
Just say when and where, and I'll talk to the people and I'll provide them with all the information they need on signage for
Great.
the historic aspects of the park.
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much.
Carlton, are you counting the kiosk that's up at High Street?
No, the one at High Street is the one that actually got
I
funded.
put in.
The kiosk is there. Is the sign up in there now?
No, there's no sign on it. There was supposed to be a long time ago. High school kids were gonna do it, and they never
Well-
put anything up, so.
Well, here's what happened. You may or may not know. Right at the end of the fiscal year, the state required a sign to be put there. And Josh, you can correct me if I get this wrong. So a sign was found, and the sign was approved by the town manager and somebody in the park department. And that sign was ordered. I'm not sure what the condition is, but that sign is supposed to come back. The problem is that sign only recognized the state park grant and maybe Concom, but they did not recognize the CPA funds going to it. So there is some issues around that, and revising that sign to recognize the CPA, CPC contribution, basically, quite frankly, was denied.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
I think, Colin and Harry, correct me if I'm wrong, you were talking the kiosk on High Street next to Mansfield's, right?
At the parking lot, it's the parking lot one.
Right, but that's not the one Harry was talking about.
Oh, High Street. I didn't know there was one at High Street. I
Right,
apologize.
there's one on
Yeah.
High Street.
The top of High Street, there was a trail that's probably all grown in, but there was a
No,
trail
it's a
going from up
walkable
there
trail.
by Jim
Yeah.
Ravel's house, going straight
Mhm.
down.
I stand corrected.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but I wanted to get that out on the other one. And that
Yep,
sign
we-
should recognize CPA also.
Right, and it's a kiosk, so we can have things put in. Plus, there's a kiosk. If you go on the entrance near the river across from the cleaners, there's a kiosk there. Well, the remains of a kiosk. It's knocked over and probably all broken now, but that should probably be replaced and have some information on it. You know, trail maps, should be trail maps on both of them.
And there's another kiosk that was installed underneath the Parks, Styles and Hart. It's at the Town River Landing back by the bench this Bridgewater Improvement Association put in. But there's a kiosk there that probably at some point needs signage.
Right. Okay, good. Yeah, I'd like to see that move along too. And at some point have, when it gets more into being done, maybe we can ask Wildlands Trust to give us a draft of a press release for that. And if, I shouldn't say if, when it finally gets completed, to have some type of a ceremony, like a grand reopening of the trails. I like the people that I hear comment the new trails on Broad Street. They were there when I was a kid, but I guess they're new to some people. Okay, anything else on Styles and Hart? Okay, Hemlock Drive windows, Carlton.
Very quickly, I believe they started the installation of the windows this week. I'll check again tomorrow, but I believe the start date was just Monday, the 21st. So that's where that one is, and we'll get a report soon. I'm going to jump down to the Parthenon Freeze also. We still do not have a final schedule for actually installing those, doing the strengthening of the walls. We mentioned that to the town manager today, and I think that's a critical issue to move forward sooner rather than later. So that's still on hold. And the Samuel Edison book is actually due to come to us in late August or early September.
Great. Any questions or discussion on any of those? Hemlock Drive, Parthenon Freeze, or the Edson book? Okay, hearing none. The next, and I'll let Carlton talk more on it, but I just want to preface it, the Townhouse Interior Historical Architect Assessment. That's the thing
Thank
I
you.
can't say quick. Don't ask me to say it quick because I can't. We voted in May to use $20,000 from the admin funds. We found that the Department of Revenue says we can't carry the funds over. So we'd like to revote it, but to keep things, I'm not sure if we really need it, but just to cover all our bases, I would like to have a motion and a vote to rescind the vote made in May for 20,000. So I'd like to rescind that vote.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Carlton and Harry. Okay, discussion. Okay, like I said, it's just to cover our bases that we don't have two votes out there for the same thing. Okay, Josh, roll call.
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Harry,
yes.
David.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, now we can go on to the new vote. Carlton, do you want to fill us
Okay,
in?
yeah, okay, I think I briefed everybody that we did reach out. I did reach out to, my brain's
Booth.
not. I
Joe
reached out
Booth.
to Joe Booth and his organization and provided him with what we would like to have done, and he sent back a proposal. Had two parts. The first part was for $15,300, and that was do the assessment, provide a complete report on the historic elements of the interior. And then there was another one, I think it was $34,500. That was just an hourly thing. If they had to come and do certain things, then they would charge us out hourly for that set of work. I think the total cost for that proposal was $15,500 in that order. And so, but because that's more than 10,000 and less than 20,000, there may need to be a further bidding process. But we need to do have a motion to use FY26 administrative funds to support that historical interior assessment of the townhouse. And the amount of money would be, I would say 16,000 just to cover our bets.
Okay, you're making the motion, Carlton?
Yes, I will make that motion.
Okay. Okay. Okay, you said admin funds, right?
Yeah, the FY26 admin funds, we don't have an account yet for that.
Right.
Account number.
Right.
We have $51,000 in our budget.
Great. Okay, any discussion?
How come we're using money in the future?
We're actually in FY26 now.
Oh, we are. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know,
We
I always
just-
have to stop and figure what.
Yeah,
year we're in.
exactly. When the year started.
In the
right.
July 1st, but in the
July 1st.
July report, we'll have a finance report that details all of this, and hopefully including the fact that we've appropriated this funds. This does not
Okay.
have the town council.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So that won't have a project account, so we probably won't see it as encumbered, but the finance department, I'll send a letter off to them about our vote, so they have a record of it. Okay. Josh, roll call?
Gina,
Yes?
Carlton,
Yes.
Patrick. Patrick, you're on mute.
Yeah, me, yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Great, thank you. Completed projects, item D. Broad Street properties, there, as I said previously in the financial review, the project was closed. I believe it was 36,400 that will be returned to the part that it came from, and I believe it was open space. Other than that, it's just pending the conservation restriction filing.
Gina, can you state that amount coming back again? I'm sorry.
36,400.
So we still, so the Broad Street properties that are tied to the Styles and Hart, we still haven't received back that 450, right?
Correct.
But somebody is tracking that we need to get
Okay,
that.
the Broad Street
Separate
property
projects. They're separate projects.
right, the two
Oh,
separate
even though
projects.
they're connected, they're separate. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right. Okay, and according to Wildlands Trust, the state who approves the conservation restrictions is behind in filing of the restrictions. So they're on top of it. And as soon as that's filed, Josh gets the information on it, he can finish the final report. Summer Street, the mobile station, we have a lot of questions on that. The reason CPC is still involved with it, as far as the usage, it's out of CPC's jurisdiction. It's up to the town. Because we paid just for towards the purchase of the land. The reason we're still involved is we need to have a conservation restriction filed, and I don't believe Carlton can update more on that, but I don't believe it's been filed yet.
That's an outstanding in a couple of ways question. The park grant that the town received indicated that the CPA restriction needed to be filed, I think sometime in the middle of the summer. I've not seen that, and the town needs someone to hold that restriction that is not a town department. And I've suggested another organization that is a nonprofit and that does have the ability to hold a CR. And I'm not going to get into the details just yet, but because we haven't even passed it by that organization, but that's a work in progress still. And we're not sure exactly, if I might, Gina, we're not sure exactly what the final plan for that park looks like. Nobody's seen a real final plan and permits being drawn. So the town manager, I'll just leave it at this. We can leave it at this. Town manager is looking into what's going on.
Right, good, thank you. Questions or comments on that piece of property, the Summer Street Park? Okay, hearing none. Next, the rebinding of the 1894 death records book. Josh, I think we had a final report for that, right? It was just waiting for
I have a
signatures.
note here. I think I think I had asked Carlton for pictures of the completed project part of it.
I thought I had sent some to you. If I
Okay,
did,
I
I'm
have
so
some.
sorry.
Yeah, I figured if they either
I
got
have
lost
some
in my
pictures
emails
too
or
that I-
somewhere. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
all
have
I'm
some
that's
pictures.
all I'm missing for it is I was looking for the pictures to send to you guys, and I meant to mention that earlier today.
Okay.
That's all I'm missing.
I'll resend them tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I'll pull some that I have too and send along. Okay, potential new projects. Pat, I'm looking for you to weigh in on the Jenny Leonard Park. Parks and Rec has discussed it. We've discussed it in the CPC meetings that piece of property.
Yeah, so Wildlands Trust took the two big pieces, so this is the only piece left in that neighborhood.
Right.
Maybe now that we have a permanent town manager, we could meet with them to try to explained to him that we want to get this done. We talked about writing a letter before, and I apologize. I don't think I ever wrote the letter, but we also had an interim town manager. So
Right.
the
And
the road is still not accepted.
Mhm.
So we still have some control over it, I think. But I mean, I think it was designed to be added to the Jenny London Park. The recreation, we really need support from recreation too. I mean, that's really where it comes into. So
Right, and I brought that up, Pat, at the recreation meeting last week. And our chairperson said he was told by the town manager and the community economic development director that that was not going to happen, but the town is definitely not taking the not accepting the property.
well, I think that might be one person's opinion. So
I agree wholeheartedly. So I told Parks and Rec, as far as we're concerned, we, and I'm putting myself, we with the proponents to take that property, not CPC, but the proponents for that, that we should continue to look into it, because it would really expand the Jenny Leonard Park. The Parks and Rec talked about doing something with Jenny Leonard Park as it stands right now. My opinion was, and we took no action on it, but my opinion was to wait and see what happens to this piece of property. Because
I think our window is closing because they're starting to wrap things up for street acceptance. So we can either accept it before street. I mean, we're going to lose our leverage. I think with the developer, as far as them working. I know they tried to convey it to us. I know that we were told the town manager's office wasn't getting back to them. So, I mean, I think we still have an opportunity to get it. I think that our window's closing though. So, we should,
May I make
you
a
know.
suggestion?
Right.
Make a suggestion. Working with Josh, can you set up a meeting with Parks and Rec representative, planning board representative, CPC representative, to actually talk about the project and what needs to be done? And if we could do that, it's just
If we could. There's so many conflicting opinions. The planning board had the site designed because of the feedback from recreation, and that's how it was designed. And now we're being told that certain people in the town don't want to accept it. So it's been kind
that's
of
why
weird.
we need to have the three entities get together and talk about what we should.
Yeah, and I'm happy to meet if Josh is willing to set that up. So
yeah, and Josh,
I got a little information on this too.
Sure.
The Jenny Leonard Park came up before in conservation, and the police department turned it down. So I checked with them because it was too far off the road for them to keep track of at night. So
right, but Harry, this solves that problem because this provides access in a parking lot that's already built. I don't think the way the Jenny Leonard Park stands right now is there's a pretty big elevation change from Walnut Street to the actual park. There's stairs.
Cherry Street.
No, it's Walnut.
Cherry. The main entrance of the park is on Cherry Street.
Oh, you're right. I apologize. You're right.
No problem.
Cherry Street. So there's no place to park. So it's designed as such that you go off, Gina, myself, and Carlton walked it one day. If we want to set up, Josh, if you want to set up a meeting at the site, we could do that as well.
Yeah, I can help set up the meeting. I just need somebody to send something to me requesting it.
Okay.
Gina, do you want to do that?
Yep, I'll send it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I think it's a consensus of this committee, not necessarily a vote, but a consensus that we need to get a clear understanding of what should be happening there.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. That's beautiful land with a parking lot and a trail to our park that has no parking and no access. So
I
Right.
hear you loud and clear, but there's a whole bunch of people that have said no, but maybe the reasons they said no could be concerns could be reduced in a conversation.
okay, thank you.
Right. Supposedly, and the person had come to a Parks and Rec meeting, in the spring, that his parents, actually the stone there that's dedicated, Jenny Park is dedicated to, is his parents, that were instrumental in building it. He said, if you go past the park, so the park's on your left, there's a little area that's completely overgrown that used to have room for 2 or 3 cars. I'm not sure. I went by, but it's completely overgrown, so I wouldn't know where it was. But as far as Parks and Rec submitting plans and a request for CPC funding, depends on that piece of land, if it's accepted. If the town's not going to accept it, then we'll just move on to the plans for Jenny Leonard. Okay, basketball courts for Legion and Scotland Fields, still in process. Parks and Rec is still talking about it. Same for the study of recreational land options. The study differs from open space ideas. This was thought of as to make sure Legion Field and Scotland Fields are set up for the best usage. I know Scotland Field could definitely be redesigned down in the back. Restoration of the fire department's Osamaquin hand pump truck. I haven't heard any more from former Chief McDermott on it. So we're just waiting to hear more on that, if they still want to do it or don't want to do it.
I'm going to suggest we take it off the menu unless you get some listen to the agenda, unless you get something.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. And the same for a lot of these. I'll bring up to Parks and Rec that to come up with some thoughts, or it's coming off our agenda for now. Next, playground accessibility.
I can talk to that one. The Disability Commission has looked at a lot of the parks in town, and they consider the accessibility and the playground equipment insufficient for kids that need that are disabled to even use. So they are considering sending an application in to restore, upgrade, provide the right equipment, the right surfaces on specifically the Marathon Park, but also potentially other ones. I gave a presentation to that commission with respect to what CPA can and can't do, and just told them that they need to send in and ask that they send in an eligibility form, and I think they're working on that. So that's just FYI. But there is some serious needs for accessibility improvements to some of the playgrounds in town.
Good, thank you. Question or comments on the accessibility? Okay. Cemetery repair of gravestones.
You guys are going to get tired of hearing me, but that's another one. I think I've spoken to the fact that when the Summer Street Park gets moving, the town is considering a grant application to do a complete streets upgrade to the street from Central Square all the way down to the railroad. And because of that, and it's the entrance to the university, one of the things I looked at and said, well, the first cemetery it's called a 17-7 or First Cemetery. It needs some attention. And so I've been researching what it might cost to do an assessment of that park for restoration purpose. There's a stone wall, there's a number of other things in there. And I've got some cost estimates, and they're high enough that it wouldn't come out of admin fund. It would have to be a more developed plan on our part to actually take a look at the First Cemetery, but possibly the other cemeteries. I think there are a couple that are in pretty good shape, but there's a couple of the older ones. I think the one out on Vernon Street is in pretty bad shape. So having a plan that may be phased over the next 10 years might be worthwhile to do. So that's what we're doing. I think the CPC can actually propose a project in and of itself. It doesn't have to come out of a town department or a nonprofit elsewhere. So that's what I'm working on to get that done. And when I get some time, I will actually start to put together an eligibility form. But I have to get a better handle on the costs.
Good, thank you. One thing to address that Carlton mentioned, that which I don't think we get tired of hearing from him for updates. You probably get tired of hearing from me too. One thing that I know we've talked about it in the past, but all these projects having liaisons other than myself, accountant. So if something comes up like historical, HDC, if we could have somebody be a liaison other than Carlton and myself. So I'll take volunteers. Most of these were pretty well set on, but that's something I'd like to see in the future, that every project have a liaison to it in their area. Okay, moving on. New business, item A1. We've received the invoice for our coalition dues. Is for $3,500. We rely on the coalition for lots of advice. We pass things by them. They have great information that is out there that other towns have done similar projects. They have a great database, great ideas. So I'll entertain a motion if a discussion about paying the dues. It's $3,500.
Motion to pay $3,500 taken from the FY26 administrative account to cover the CPA coalition dues.
Seconded.
Okay.
I will add to that, they provide a lot of work at the State House. They are an organization that can go to the State House and talk about basically getting additional changes to the CPA law, improvements, getting funding from the state for the CPA trust fund, that kind of thing. So it's money well worth spending.
Right. And Stuart Saginaw, who's the head of the coalition, presented to the legislature a couple months ago all about CPA, and explained to people, the legislator, what it is, what it covers. And from what I hear, he received great support from the legislators. They also, as Carlton said about the budget, the state match, they do a lot of following up on the supplemental budget to try to get CPA as much as they can. So it helps with they help with advocating for funding, as well as all the things I said, advice, etc. Okay, so we have a motion. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Josh, roll call.
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Next thing is reorganization. According to the town, I don't know if it's a bylaw, if it's the charter, or if it's what it is. But it stipulates boards, committees, commissions have to reorganize at the first meeting after July 1st. So that's what we're doing here. In the past, we've just had 2 officers, a chair and a vice chair. So we'll take nominations.
I nominate Gina for chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Okay, hearing none. Josh, roll call.
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Sorry, my mute button's taking a minute. Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your vote of confidence for another year as your chair. Okay, vice chair.
Motion for Carlton to be vice chair.
Okay, second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion. Okay, just want to add that Carlton's like the best vice chair.
I don't know about that.
He's well, yep, much on top of everything. So I think it's a good choice. Okay, if no other comments, our roll call.
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Okay.
Patrick,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Great, thank you. Anything else is brought up by the committee? Any thoughts on anything?
So Gina, you bring up a good point. So the planning board appoints me to the CPC, right?
Mhm. Right.
Am I supposed to are we supposed to discuss an appointment every July?
Nope.
No?
Nope. It's just the committee itself has to reorganize.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so like your planning board would have to reorganize.
No, we did the same thing you did last meeting, but I didn't know if board and committee appointments to the CPC were only 1-year appointments or if they were indefinite until the committee makes a change.
I believe they're 3-year appointments. And of course, if somebody leaves, then you have to appoint somebody, but it's a 3-year. Josh, correct me?
Yep. Yeah, and generally what I do is I follow the appointment term. Just because you know, I can't appoint somebody for 3 years if they only have 2 years left on a committee. So
Right. So Josh, I was just reappointed to Parks and Rec. I'm not sure when my time for CPC is up. Could you send me a list of members for when their CPC appointment is up?
So yeah, but with the CPC, they're not ratified by town council. So
Right.
it's just, so when you got reappointed to Parks and Rec, we've appointed you to CPC, reappointed to CPC.
Okay.
So you don't have to go through the same process.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Okay. Committee liaison reports.
Gina, I wanted to bring up a
Yep.
couple of things. We may be receiving, we anticipate we will receive a request for some additional funds to be spent underneath the admin account. We're waiting for the town to send that request in to us, so we have a clarity of how it's done. I'm not going to get into the details at this point because we don't have the full scope for that. And the other thing is, it went out of my head. I'm done.
Okay, so the first was just request from the town for additional funding.
Gina, I'm not going to go into it. It's an
Okay.
administrative account for requests for some additional funds that we will hopefully take up next month. We need an application. We need a letter from the town manager with what he wants to do.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, committee liaison reports. David, anything for?
Nothing new at this point.
Okay. Let's see. Maureen,
I have nothing new to report, but we are still looking for additional members.
okay, that's right. 'Cause you're down to just 2 members, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Great. Not great that you're down to 2 members. Great for your report.
What committee is that?
Open
Open
space.
space.
Thank you.
You want to join, Janet?
I don't know, but I didn't know what it was, so
Oh.
I'd have to think about it, but I'm sorry, I didn't know what committee you were on.
I was
Okay,
just hoping she's volunteering already.
me too.
I'd have to look into it.
Okay. Let's see, who else do we have? Harry.
Conservation is down to, we're having a meeting tomorrow night, and if all 3 of us show up, we can have a meeting.
Okay,
We have a new member coming in, and everybody's gonna like this one when she gets here. I'll announce it at the next meeting.
great.
You guys are down to 3 members?
We have 4, but one's on vacation, and 3 of us are here. And if we
Who
all-
left the Conservation Commission?
Hmm?
Who left the Conservation Commission?
Who left?
Well, I guess who are the members now? Who's on there right now?
Myself, Marilyn McDonald, and Eileen Prisco.
Okay,
Mark
Good.
Peterson and
Mark Peterson didn't get reappointed.
interesting. Okay, who did I miss?
I think you got
Myself,
it.
Parks and Rec, I kind of covered everything.
And Bill signed off.
Okay. Yeah, I think he was in another meeting that he jumped out of to come to us for the first parish discussion.
just not to interrupt, Harry, Wendy is no longer the chair of that committee?
Wendy left.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Parks and Rec, I've kind of covered it, everything. We'll meet again the second Monday in August. I think it's August 11th. Pat, planning board. Anything?
Not too much. We approved, or we reviewed the Broad Street project and wrote a letter with a bunch of recommendations for that project that's coming up. Other
Is
than
that Perkins project?
no, that's the Friendly site.
Okay.
I mean, other than that, we've kind of had, um, 43R we approved, but that's, appears to be in litigation. The friendly site, we wrote a letter of support, but with a bunch of conditions. Trying to think of what else we have. Mostly smaller stuff right now. So we anticipate some bigger projects coming in, but right now it's, to be honest with you, it's kind of quiet this summer. So
Good for you guys. Little break. Okay. I think I hit everybody. Yep. Hit everybody there. Upcoming events. Can't think of any upcoming events unless somebody else knows of some. Okay. Actually, the Fire for Effect has one of their farmers markets this weekend, the 26th, Saturday. I think it's the 26th, at Town River Landing. Public comment. Janet, you're a public. Do you have any comments to add?
Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street, Bridgewater. I do have a comment about the Summer Street or First Cemetery. That's always been a special to me. I've always been interested. I like old cemeteries, but my son had done his Eagle Scout project on that cemetery, so I got more interested. And it's always sad to see the stones that have been knocked over the many, years and years, and also the stone wall that's around there. That's not the original stone wall, but it's been damaged from snowplows and stuff. My son, when he had leftover money from his project, they did take down one of the trees that was dead. That kind of took care of all that. That was back in.
We lost you, Janet. Okay. Janet disappeared. Janet, are you still there? Okay, I don't hear her.
Frozen.
Yep. If she comes back on, we'll jump back to that. The next meeting date is August 27th. We've talked to the town manager and to Josh about possibly hybrid meetings. Thoughts on that from the committee? Would you prefer to stick to Zoom? Hybrid meetings? I think if we just met in person and not made it a hybrid meeting, my opinion is we cut down on public participation. Some people, the general public.
I lost. Sorry.
That's okay.
I lost you. So I lost Zoom altogether. So I apologize if I could quickly finish my speech.
Okay. True.
I'd like to, I don't know who bleached some of there's like 2 or 3 stones that have been, I call bleached. They're white. And I don't know who did that. And did they get permission to do that? And to me, that's not historical. I don't think the stones were white back then in the 16, 17 and 1800s. So I don't know if anybody could answer that as to why a few of the stones got bleached. But I'd like to try to keep them the original. I think they should be the original color, but I am very interested in restoring that cemetery, and fixing the stones. And just quickly about cutting trees, you mentioned about Styles Hart, and I've talked to Pat Neary, who's in the tree committee, about trying to not cut trees during breeding season, leave season, they should try to be cut at the end of a season or the beginning of a season, not during when animals and everything. And a lot of animals do live in those dead trees. So I understand needing to protect people, but if they can avoid cutting until towards, the fall or before the spring. That's it. Thank you, though.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, back to the hybrid meetings. What's the feeling of the CPC members for continue strictly with Zoom, go to hybrid? And the issue that might be with hybrid is there's just one room to do in the Academy building to do hybrid meetings. And that room's in demand. So we'd have to schedule way ahead, and we can always there's always a possibility of getting bounced if the town council needs it. But as far as just meetings that we can do, well, not that we can do, our regular meetings, looking for thoughts from the CPC on if you want hybrid, if you want to continue strictly with Zoom. Thoughts? David?
You muted, but
I hate Zoom meetings, but unfortunately, I think it's something that we have to learn to live with. Hybrid, possibly. But I think without them, we would lose attendance, public participation, and everything else. I think the world has gotten used to Zoom, so we're stuck with it for the time being. So if we can't do a hybrid meeting, we ought to just stay with straight Zoom. Reluctantly,
Okay.
I say that, but I think it's just reality now. I think we can't go back.
Right. And I think some committees are just doing, I don't think it's a lot, but they're meeting in person, recording the meeting, but there's no public participation. And I think given the type of things that we deal with, I think we need to have public participation. Hal, you had your hand up?
yeah, I would add, if we did a hybrid meeting, you must have a physical quorum in the meeting room.
Right.
So for us, we would have to have 5 people, and then if we had 8 people, the other 3 could be on Zoom, but you have to have quorum present in the room. So that's another question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Maureen? You have your thoughts?
Yep. I'm kind of okay about anything. Zoom is very convenient though, because you can just sit at home and relax and be part of the meeting. It also does get any public who may not be able to get out, so and they can be involved in it. So I may lean towards Zoom myself. Although I do
Okay.
like to have face-to-face.
Mm-hmm. Carlton?
Yeah, I was going to add, I do like face-to-face because I think it's important to see body language and reactions and that kind of thing. But I also understand just having a meeting in the room and to have to record it doesn't work. So I would probably go against that. The other thing that we were told today about the Zoom meeting, being in 201A, which is the only one that you can do Zoom hybrids in, you would need to have somebody on the committee who could handle people that might want to come into it. For example, tonight, Josh had another meeting to go to, so he made Gina and I co-chair or whatever. And if somebody signed in, I could click on that and sign them in. So you would have to have somebody besides this town staff member to let people into a meeting and watch what's going on. So that's just the other piece.
Right. And
And we don't have to take a vote tonight. We just.
right, I was just trying to get people's thoughts. Harry,
Zoom.
Zoom, okay, Pat? Pat, that's on Zoom or hybrid?
I mean, tonight Zoom's convenient for me, but I typically like meetings in person better, but so I could do hybrid. I'm okay with everything, so.
Okay,
I mean, I hope the planning board goes back in person soon. So I'd like to push it that way, but.
mm-hmm. Yep, okay, good. We'll look into it for the next meeting.
Can somebody from the public comment on the Zoom?
Sure,
Yes.
go right ahead.
Janet, Pleasant Street. I've gotten used to Zoom in that I can be feeding my cats, I can be making supper, you know, I can be doing things, I get used to it. But just now, I lost you when I was talking, and then I lost you guys again. That's the only drawback with Zoom, is that it froze and I lost you. And then I had to get back in. So that's happened 3 times now talking with you guys. So that is of consideration, though it is convenient to be at home. So I can, you know, that's my feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Zoom, as good as it is, it does have, any technology has its issues. Myself, my thoughts, I could go either way. Hybrid is good if we have, you know, somebody's traveling or whatever. I know some of us have been, Carlton was out of the country last year and he jumped on it like 3 o'clock in the morning from where he was. I think others of us have been away, and if we have our internet connection, we don't always, but have jumped on. But that could be Zoom as well. So we'll look into it some more.
I'll make a suggestion and then I think we need to adjourn, but
Yep.
maybe Josh could send out a little poll to us. So, and you respond only to Josh because we're not deliberating, but just have
Right.
a little bullet to fill in, and people can X in which ones they prefer, and they could, you know, you could do 2 or 3 if you want, but that would be my suggestion, so we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about it next meeting.
Right. Josh is off right now, but
Oh,
I'll
no, I'm
shoot him.
here.
He's here.
Oh, you are there.
I'm still here.
Why did I think you were gone?
Just waiting to go home.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still in the
Okay.
building. Oh my.
Yeah. I will say one thing that I've meant to mention when we were having this discussion earlier too, is if we do look into hybrid, the amount of Zoom bombings have escalated in the last few months. So we do just want to make sure that we have somebody, that whoever's in the building, that can just quickly learn how to use that tablet in room 201A. That way, if we do have a situation like that, you know, I'll do my best to be on to help staff it. But just so that I can show whoever is learning it how to quickly, you know, remove people using the tablet, and also stopping the recording and then starting it up again once everything is back to normal.
Right. Good.
Thank you.
Good point, Josh. Thank you. It's a shame that people have nothing better to do than to hack into things. But okay, that's good. If nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Harry likes those motions to
I do.
adjourn. You do. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion? Okay, never any discussion on that. Josh, roll call?
Gina,
Yes.
Carlton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved. The meeting is adjourned.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.